must retain ancestral roots. English translation of Phi Giu Lei Nguyen Khoi To Tien. Dear uncles, relatives and young people of Phu Bai village. In 1992, I had the good fortune that I had the opportunity to have communion with two ancestors of Phu Bai village, namely the first founder of the village, Bon Tho Than Hoang, and secondary founder of the village, Du Bon Tho Than Hoang. From that day until now, it has been nearly 30 years, I have always searched, studied and researched everything that the two of them taught, especially about the principle of operation and transformation of all visible and metaphysical things, and invisible phenomena in the universe that are related to humans, which modern science has discovered and proven. That is the most important thing that our ancestors want their descendants to learn. To have enough scientific basis, to protect and promote the extremely magical spiritual cultural lifeline of the Vietnamese nation in general and of the ancestors Phu Bai village in particular. The next secondary thing is to clarify their status and career, which in the past and present have been misunderstood by some descendants, if not clarified in time. There is a risk of losing the roots. During this event, over the past 3 years, we have made more than 50 videos and a number of articles talking about the field of spirituality with science. Including more than 35 videos we talk about Phu Bai village. As a result of the content we presented in those videos, the vast majority of people were silent. Only a few of the younger generation spoke up in agreement with our actions. However, there are also a few people who wonder about the name of the village, if it is Phu Bai or Phu Bai. This incident we have an article to explain about the name Phu Bai or Phu Bai, posted the first time on July 9, 2020, and the second time on July 15, 2020, on our Facebook. The content of the article we present in a gentle, neutral way, because we hope you are smart enough to understand what is real, what is fake, what is right and what is wrong. However, after that, a few villagers continued to wonder about the two words Phu Bai and Phu Bai, so we had a video to explain further. This video was published on January 24, 2021, with the title of Answering a Special Question Part 2. But sadly, there are still some young people who do not fully understand and ask again about the word Phu Bai or Phu Bai. So we feel it's time to speak out fully and clearly about the truth with the following 4 videos. The first is the name of the village of Phu Bai or Phu Bai, taken from the content of the article with the title as mentioned above. The second is the historical dream video, which consists of 3 parts. Part 1 is published October 10, 2021. Part 2 is published October 19, 2021. Part 3 is published November 2, 2021. In these 3 videos, it is clear why the two authors Phu Bai Su Quang and Hong Fa Phu Bai changed the name of Phu Bai village to Phu Bai, and the big and small consequences, due to the change of the village name, brought some people who could not find the truth. Especially the generation born around 1955, 1956, later on they had a misunderstanding, because they lacked a complete understanding of the history of Phu Bai village through time and space, so they said the name of Phu Bai village. From the airport all the way back to Phu Bai Bridge, and from the airport upwards is Phu Bai Ward, Phu Bai Town, Phu Bai Market and so on. Now is the part to share the main content of the above problem, for you to study and find out. Ladies and gentlemen and young people, as we have mentioned before, on August 30, 1945, King Bao Dai officially read his abdication in front of Hughes Go Mon Gate, ending the reign of the Nguyen dynasty that lasted 143 years. The governing apparatus of Bao Dai's government, from the top to the bottom, was handed over to the Provisional Revolutionary Government to manage. Phu Bai village was established by the Viet Minh Front to establish Hai Tui Commune, including the villages of Phu Bai, Ta Da, Tan Ta, and Cheap Bai. Hai Tui Commune belongs to Hong Fu District, Thua Thien Province. Then in 1946, the French colonialists stubbornly returned to invade Vietnam. In 1947, the French established a new government in Phu Bai village and appointed a chief of staff to look after and manage the administration, and at the same time, there was about a squad of soldiers stationed in a very solidly built blockhouse next to Phu Bai Bridge. To maintain security, and strengthen control over the villagers of Phu Bai and neighboring villages, the French established General Luong Van, under Hong Tui District, Thua Thien Province. General Luong Van includes the villages of Phu Bai, Ta Da, Tan Ta, Cheap Bai and Luong Van. During this period, the chief of the village of Phu Bai concurrently held the position of deputy general, while the chief general was Luong Van. During this period, both the local revolutionary government as well as the French colonial government used the name Phu Bai Village, which lasted until July 20, 1954. The Geneva Agreement was officially signed in Switzerland, to end the presence of French troops in Indochina. From here France must withdraw its troops from Vietnam. However, according to the Geneva Agreement, Vietnam must be temporarily divided into two regions, waiting for the date of consultation to unify the country. From the 17th parallel onwards, it is governed by the government of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. From the 17th parallel onwards, it is governed by the Republic of Vietnam government. In 1955, the relevant ministries of the Southern government, having decreed that all documents such as birth registration, marriage, address book, land tax, etc., were lost due to the reason that the book was lost because of the war. This is a good opportunity for the author of the Phu Bai Incense book to fulfill his wish to change the village name from Phu Bai to Phu Bai because in 1955, the author of the Phu Bai Incense book was involved in the commune government, with the executive part being a civil status officer. Therefore, the birth, marriage, and renewal papers are all named Phu Bai, as well as anyone born in this period and later. When making birth registration, they are also named Phu Bai Village. Even if they are born in this period, the people who get married are also named Phu Bai Village. That's why Phu Bai Village was born from here. This incident we have fully shared in the videos mentioned above. This is about Phu Bai Village in the area where villagers live from kilometer 16 to kilometer 19. And from the beginning of kilometer 16, i.e. from La La Culvert up the red soil slope to kilometer 15 at the airport, and then up to kilometer 14 in Cong Ba Kua, to K Under Junction. This area is uninhabited, except for about 3 or 4 families living in Zom Co Ong in the west of Phu Bai Airport, from Highway 1A to go about 1 kilometer, this hamlet later called Hon Do Hamlet. From 1945 to 1954, the area of kilometer 15 belonged to Phu Bai Airport. There were only 2 existing facilities, which were Phu Bai Airport and Le Duong Phu Bai Military Station. In 1954, Le Duong French garrison withdrew its troops, leaving only dilapidated houses. Particularly, Phu Bai Airport was temporarily closed for a while, but the houses and vestiges named Phu Bai or Phu Bai are still present. By the end of 1954, to the beginning of 1955, within km 14 at the junction of the Under Tree, next to the National Highway 1A, there were about 20 families of northern compatriots 54 in the area around the Under Tree, near the sewer. 3 doors, brought here by a priest, they were the first to arrive in this sandy plain. This sandy area up to the Luong Van border along National Highway 1A. So there is a proverb, Nong source water is both clear and cool, Trong Phu Bai is small and easy to go. By the end of 1956, at the end of kilometer 14 and at the beginning of kilometer 15, next to National Highway 1A, to the east was established a training camp for new recruits Phu Bai, led by a lieutenant-level officer as the commander. Sometime later, around 1958, in 1960, it was expanded and converted into Dong Da Training Center. The more recruits received training, the more training staff there were, so they established a family quarter under the three-gate culvert. This is the second group of people to come to this land. Thus, here there was a small community of residents, and there was a small market to buy and sell necessities with neighboring villages such as Phu Bai, To Da, Tan Ta, Cheat Bai. At the same time, a children's school and a Catholic church was founded. The number of recruits from the two provinces of Quang Tri, Thua Thien and neighboring southern provinces coming to Dong Da Center to receive training is increasing. The family area is spacious. The market is increasingly busy. The people of the communes, more and more neighbors come and live. Then about 1966 to 1967, the U.S. Army stationed around the area of Phu Bai Airport and Dong Da Training Center. American barracks were stationed throughout the area inside National Highway 1A to the west and southwest. American soldiers come every day, and every day, the belt is wide every day. The sandy land formerly known as Phu Bai Naked, now the houses have been erected and covered. The old market has been relocated and the large fat market is called Phu Luang Market, because the people have moved up to the border of Luang Van village. So Phu Luang Market is a ligature of two villages, Phu Bai and Luang Van. This is the period when the residential community in this area develops extremely quickly in all aspects, because the needs of material life here are too demanding and too urgent. Especially for eating, drinking and entertainment activities, location, so a series of restaurants, bars have expanded. In order to maintain security and order for the above activities, Dong Da Training Center is mainly responsible for this area. So from there, the town of Phu Bai was born, belonging to Hong Tui District Capital. In the period from 1967 to early 1972, the area of Phu Bai town was bustling with trade, among the first in Thua Thien province. But by the end of 1972 to 1973, Phu Luang Market in Phu Bai town was no longer crowded. Because the Parai Agreement was officially signed on January 27, 1973, ending the Vietnam War, and the U.S. had to withdraw its troops from Vietnam. Since then, the U.S. military barracks around the airport, and the center of Dong Da, especially the barracks inside Highway 1A in the west and southwest, have been vacant. Because American soldiers have taken turns, gone by the end of 1973, American soldiers were completely no longer in this defensive perimeter. On April 30, 1975, the South Vietnamese Army lost the battle, the war ended, Jiang Sun collected a term, and the Dong Da Training Center was also demolished. Particularly, the U.S. Army barracks were completely demolished in turn, and the land at the end of Kilometer 14 and 15, and the first part of Kilometer 16 in the territory of Phu Bai returned. In its original condition, only one facility remains, Phu Bai Airport. As for the land belonging to Phu Bai town at the beginning of Kilometer 14 and above, it remains the same, and is further developed. As for the land inside National Highway 1A in the area of Dong Da Training Center in the airport, in the land near the highway, people in different places have built houses to live in. Most of the rest, far to the west and southwest, established industrial zones. At the back of Dong Da Training Center to the east and northeast, bordering Tui Tan, in the old afternoon market area, people from all over the world also build houses here every winter. On January 6, 1983, Phu Bai town was established. The name Phu Bai is the former town of Hong Tui District. On February 9, 2010, the government issued Resolution 8, NQCP, 2, by which Hong Tui district was transformed into Hong Tui town, and Phu Bai ward was established, on the basis of the entire 1570 Ha area. Naturally, with a population of 14,174 people in Phu Bai town, the population density reaches 903 people per 1 kilometer 2. Especially in the ward, there is Phu Bai International Airport. Perhaps this is one of the important historical evidences that the people on it named Phu Bai ward dear uncles and aunts, people of Phu Bai village. Through the article and video we present today, and the 4 videos that we mentioned above, you must have clearly understood the 2 words Phu Bai or Phu Bai. Also from this base, people have clearly recognized the historical origin of their ancestors, which is real, which is fake, where is right, where is wrong. However, it is very sad that the videos just mentioned in the number of listeners and views are too few compared to the current number of 13,793 people in Phu Bai village. So when facing the reality outside, they want to learn the history of our village, which they have watched and listened to our videos. If you don't answer correctly, but they already know, they will point out the wrong, as we have raised with you for a long time. What do you say? That's the truth that the people of Phu Bai ward asked us, and we asked them how to know so well. They said that they had heard and watched our videos, and we made empty promises to them. We will complete the history of the village in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, if we do not complete the village history, first of all, we will sin against our ancestors, and then 13,793 people of Phu Bai village, we will be ashamed of 14,174 people of Phu Bai ward. Because they have only come here for decades, but they have understood the main historical source to keep the true historical value of our ancestors. Meanwhile, we have a history of more than 400 years, but we have lost our roots. It would be extremely embarrassing for people in Phu Bai ward. Therefore, it is thought that all the people of Phu Bai village today must find for themselves the most satisfactory way to behave, otherwise, posterity will surely criticize the irresponsibility of today's generation. Finally, I wish you and your family good health and clear wisdom. Regards, Phuong Go and Phu La. USA January 6, 2022.